Lion Air Flight 610 was a scheduled domestic flight operated by the Indonesian airline Lion Air from Soekarno, Hatta International Airport in Jakarta to Depati Amir Airport in Pangkal Pinang. On the 29th of October 2018, the Boeing 737 MAX 8 operating the route crashed into the Java Sea 13 minutes after takeoff, killing all 189 passengers and crew. It was the first major accident involving the new Boeing 737 MAX series aircraft, introduced in 2017, and the deadliest involving a 737, surpassing Air India Express Flight 812 in 2010. It is the deadliest accident in Lion Air's 18-year history, surpassing the 2004 crash in Surakarta that killed 25, and the second deadliest aircraft accident in Indonesia behind Garuda Indonesia Flight 152. The Indonesian government deployed a search and rescue operation which found debris early the same morning and recovered human remains from a 150 nautical mile wide area. The first victim was identified 2 days after the crash. The flight data recorder was located on the 1st of November and recovered for analysis. One member of the volunteer rescue team died during recovery operations. The cockpit voice recorder was found on the 14th of January 2019. Preliminary investigations revealed serious flight control problems that traumatized passengers and crew on the aircraft's previous flight, as well as signs of angle of attack sensor and other instrument failures on that and previous flights, tied to a potential design flaw involving the maneuvering characteristics augmentation system of the 737 MAX series. As a result, the United States Federal Aviation Administration and Boeing issued warnings and training advisories to all operators of the 737 MAX series to avoid letting the MCAS cause an abrupt dive similar to the Lion Air flight. Previous flight problems. The aircraft was used on a flight from Garuda International Airport, Bali to Soekarno Hatta International Airport, Jakarta the night before the crash. Detailed reports from that flight revealed that the aircraft had suffered a serious incident, which left many passengers traumatized. Passengers in the cabin reported heavy shaking and a smell of burnt rubber inside the cabin. At one point, the aircraft had dropped more than 200 feet in a few seconds. The seatbelt sign was never turned off from takeoff to landing. A recording of air traffic control communications indicated that the pilot had called a pan-pan. The crew later decided to cancel the pan-pan and continue the flight to Jakarta. The aircraft's maintenance logbook revealed that the aircraft suffered an unspecified navigation failure on the captain's side, while the first officer's side was reported to be in good condition. Passengers recounted that the aircraft had suffered an engine problem and were told not to board it as engineers tried to fix the problem. While the aircraft was en route to Jakarta, it had problems maintaining a constant altitude, with passengers stating that it was like a roller coaster ride. The chief executive officer of Lion Air, Edward Surrey, said the aircraft had a technical issue on Sunday night, but this had been addressed in accordance with maintenance manuals issued by the manufacturer. Engineers had declared that the aircraft was ready for takeoff on the morning of the accident. A later report claimed that a third pilot was on the flight to Jakarta and told the crew to cut power to the stabilizer trim motors, which fixed the problem. This method is a standard memory item in the 737 checklist. Subsequently, the National Transportation Safety Committee confirmed the presence of an off-duty Boeing 737 MAX 8 qualified pilot in the cockpit, but did not confirm the role of the pilot in fixing the problem, and denied that there was any recording of the previous flight in the CVR of Lion Air Flight 610. History of the flight. On the 29th of October 2018, a Boeing 737-8 aircraft registered PKLQP was being operated by PT Lion Mentari Airlines as a scheduled passenger flight from Soekarno Hatta International Airport, Jakarta 1 with intended destination of Depati Amir Airport, Pangkal Pinang 2. The scheduled time of departure from Jakarta was 545 LT as LNI 610. At 23:20 UTC, the aircraft departed from Jakarta using runway 25 liters and intended cruising altitude was 27 feet. The LNI 610 pilot was instructed to follow the standard instrument departure of a BASA 1C4. According to the weight and balance sheet, on board the aircraft were 2 pilots, 5 flight attendants and 181 passengers consisted of 178 adult, 1 child and 2 infants. The voyage report 5 showed that the number of flight attendant on board was 6 flight attendants. The digital flight data recorder recorded a difference between left and right angle of attack 6 of about 20, and continued until the end of recording. During rotation, the left control column stick shaker 7 activated and continued for most of the flight. Shortly after departure, the Jakarta Tower controller instructed LNI 610 to contact Terminal East controller. Below is a summary of the ATC and DFDR transcript while we await publication of the CVR transcript. At 23 hours, 21 minutes and 22 seconds UTC, the LNI 66 made initial contact with the T controller, who responded that the aircraft was identified on the Controller Aircraft Situational Display, a SD. Thereafter, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to climb to altitude 27 feet. At 23 hours, 21 minutes and 28 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 SIC asked the T controller to confirm the altitude of the aircraft as shown on the T controller radar display. The T controller responded that the aircraft altitude was 900 feet and was acknowledged by the LNI 610 second in command. At 23 hours, 21 minutes and 53 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 SIC requested approval to the T controller to some holding point. The T controller asked the LNI 610 the problem of the aircraft, and the pilot responded flight control problem. The LNI 610 descended from altitude 1,700 to 1,600 feet, and the T controller then asked the LNI 610 of the intended altitude. The LNI 610 SIC advised the T controller that the intended altitude was 5 feet. At 23 hours, 22 minutes and 5 seconds UTC, the DFDR recorded the aircraft altitude was approximately 150 feet and the flaps were retracted. After the flaps reached 0, the DFDR recorded automatic aircraft nose down trim active for 10 seconds, followed by flight crew commanded aircraft nose up trim. At 23 hours, 22 minutes and 31 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to climb and maintain altitude of 5 feet and to turn left heading 50. The instruction was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 22 minutes and 48 seconds UTC, the flaps extended to 5 and the automatic and trim stopped. At 23 hours, 22 minutes and 56 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 SIC asked the T controller the speed as indicated on the radar display. The T controller responded to the LNI 610 that the ground speed of the aircraft shown on the radar display was 322 knots. At 23 hours, 24 minutes and 51 seconds UTC, the T controller added flight CONTTROB text for LNI 610 target label on the controller radar system as reminder that the flight was experiencing flight control problem. At 23 hours, 25 minutes and 5 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to turn left heading 350 and maintain altitude of 5 feet. The instruction was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 25 minutes and 18 seconds UTC, the flaps retracted to 0. At 23 hours, 25 minutes and 27 seconds UTC, the automatic and trim and flight crew commanded ANU trim recorded began again and continued for the remainder of the flight. At 23 hours, 26 minutes and 32 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to turn right heading 50 and maintain altitude of 5 feet. The instruction was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 26 minutes and 59 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to turn right heading 70 to avoid traffic. The LNI 610 pilot did not respond to the T controller's instruction. Thereafter, the controller called the LNI 610 twice, who responded at 23 hours, 27 minutes and 13 seconds UTC. At 23 hours, 27 minutes and 15 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to turn right heading 90, which was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. A few seconds later, the T controller revised the instruction to stop the turn and fly heading 70, which was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 28 minutes and 15 seconds UTC, the T controller provided traffic information to the LNI 610, who responded 0. About 14 seconds later, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to turn left heading 50 and maintain an altitude of 5 feet. The instruction was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 29 minutes and 37 seconds UTC, the T controller questioned the LNI 610 whether the aircraft was descending, as the T controller noticed that the aircraft was descending. The LNI 610 SIC advised the T controller that they had a flight control problem and were flying the aircraft manually. At 23 hours, 29 minutes and 45 seconds UTC, the T controller instructed the LNI 610 to maintain heading 50 and contact the arrival controller. The instruction was acknowledged by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 30 minutes and 3 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 contacted the ARR controller and advised that they were experiencing a flight control problem. The ARR controller advised LNI 610 to prepare for landing on runway 25 liters and instructed them to fly heading 70. The instruction was read back by the LNI 610 SIC. At 23 hours, 30 minutes and 58 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 SIC stated LNI 650 due to weather request proceed to ESA LA8, which was approved by the ARR controller. At 23 hours, 31 minutes and 9 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 PIC advised the ARR controller that the altitude of the aircraft could not be determined due to all aircraft instruments indicating different altitudes. The pilot used the call sign of LNI 650 during the communication. The ARR controller acknowledged then stated LNI 610 no restriction. At 23 hours, 31 minutes and 23 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 PIC requested the ARR controller to block altitude 3 feet above and below for traffic avoidance. The ARR controller asked what altitude the pilot wanted. At 23 hours, 31 minutes and 35 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 PIC responded 5 thou. The ARR controller approved the pilot request. At 23 hours, 31 minutes and 54 seconds UTC, the FDR stopped recording. The ARR controller attempted to contact LNI 610 twice with no response. At 23 hours, 32 minutes and 19 seconds UTC, the LNI 610 target disappeared from the ASD and changed to flight plan track. The ARR controller and T controller attempted to contact LNI 610 4 more times with no response. The ARR controller then checked the last known coordinates of LNI 610 and instructed the assistant to report the occurrence to the operations manager. The ARR controller requested several aircraft to hold over the last known position of LNI 610 and to conduct a visual search of the area. About 5 UTC, tugboat personnel found floating debris at 5-4856, 4S, 107-7 windy 3, 4E, which was about 33 nm from Jakarta on bearing 56. The debris was later identified as LNI 610.